Hello, 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 hello. Hey. Hello. Welcome. How are you guys doing? Good to see everyone. How are you guys doing? Ola West, Farouk, Umar, Emmanuel, Z, good to see everyone. Wow. Using your advice to grow my meal prep business. Good to hear that, Don Meal. Good to hear that. Voxel, good to see you. 1, 2, 3, 4 Skates, good to see you. Miss Ayuba, good to see you. Bashmani, good to see you. Oh, hi Timothy, good to see you. Sorry. Good to see you. How are you guys doing? Bolaji Wasil. It's been a while I've been here on Instagram. Those on TikTok they've jazzed me. So I'm always going live on TikTok, but it's been a while I've been live on Instagram. So I have a quick topic to discuss with us this evening, and that's the concept of trophy assets. That's the concept of a trophy asset. So it's been on my mind for a while. So this concept has been on my mind for a while, and I guess this is the best time to actually discuss about it. And it was inspired by the story of this guy. What's his name again? James Dyson. I think it's James Dyson. I think I'm correct. Right. I'm sure you're a descendant of Solomon. Oh, Bolaji, I see you. Good to have you. All right. So I was just studying the story of James Dyson. He was the one who invented the bagless vacuum cleaner, right? The Dyson vacuum cleaner. And apart from his, what he was able to accomplish with the vacuum cleaning technology, right? One of the other things that amazes me about what he does is the way he leverages the concept of a trophy asset, right? And it's not just him. There are a lot of people like that also that I've seen, and I'm naturally curious. That is okay. Why do these people have this sort of investment? Because it looks weird. It looks like they could have done something better, but it's more like a secret that they don't discuss the rationale behind, right? This is not just investing in properties. This is not just investing in real estate. It's a different thing entirely. It's a different strategy. It's a different perspective entirely. And there's something I often say, that nobody gets ultra wealthy with words on the streets. Nobody gets ultra wealthy with popular opinion. That is why when you see a wealthy man, everybody's trying to know, okay, what's your secret? What did you do differently? Right? Adibin, it's just the same thing every other person on the street is doing. Then there won't be any uniqueness or anything to be to popular knowledge, to popular opinion, to be what everybody's doing, right? But knowing that there's something this person did differently, there's something this person knows that many people don't know, that maybe I myself inclusive do not know, is reason why we all try to get closer to them. Although some people just try to get closer because they want to collect money. But for those who are wise, they know that it's not just about them giving you money, but there's something they know that when they share it with you, all right, it can change your entire game. right? And that's basically what we'll be discussing this evening. The concept of a trophy asset, right? And trophy asset with respect to real estate, right? For example, the James Dyson that I was talking about, he had a 300-acre estate. I think it was around 15 million pounds that he got it for, right, in the UK, right? And that did not just serve as his primary residence, his private residence. It was also a key wealth preservation strategy, right? Real estate can be for either cash flow or store of value, right? Most times, let me say this, and like I often say when I want to say certain things, that you are free to disagree, right? You don't have to agree with me, right? So one of the things that amazes me about the concept of this trophy asset is that about the concept of the way most people that I look up to invest in real estate is that most times they are not buying to resell. I don't know if you understand what I just said now. I know that the popular thing is that you buy a property now, it appreciates in value and then you resell. And I'll tell you the reason why. Most of the wealthy guys, the ultra wealthy that I know, that are buying properties, most of them are not buying to resell. They're actually not buying to resell. And this is the reason. Most of them, they treat real estate either as a business, that is, they can have a real estate business whereby they build and sell, right? They build and put for rental, they build commercial units, so they can actually have real estate business. That's the part A. The part 2 is that it's actually a wealth preservation strategy for them. So they are not buying to resell. They are either buying in business, sometimes it's called rainy day funds. Just like if you hear the case of when Otedola was bankrupt and he had to liquidate about hundreds of his properties for, what's it called now? To clear off his debts, to clear off some of the debts that he had. That means he held on those properties not because he was buying so that when they appreciate in value, he would be able to sell them. No. Right? Or they're actually investing in it as a capital for the next generation, which is where you now see that they now have a trust as a capital for their children, for their grandchildren, and things like that. So it's actually a quick profit mindset that let me buy, so that it's appreciate in value and then I will resell. Most of them, if not all of them, they don't buy properties because it's appreciate in value and then they will resell. If they need real estate to give them money, they'll do it as a business. And if one thing you should understand is that most of these guys, they already have their primary business. James Dyson that I was talking about earlier, he actually was successful in vacuum technology. He was successful there. So the 300-acre estate was not his wealth creation strategy. If you want to use real estate as a wealth creation strategy, do it as a business. But they do it as a wealth preservation strategy, as a wealth holding strategy. That's what they do. So they're not waiting for it to appreciate in value. In fact, once they buy it, they've taken their face off it. They are going back to their business. They're looking for something more. For example, do you think that what's it called? People that buy properties in Banana Island, they are buying because it appreciates in value and then they resell. Look at the value of the estate that Adenuga has in Banana Island, right? And that's just one out of many that we probably do not even know, right? So if you want to do it as wealth creation, you do it as a business. Real estate is the only form of wealth creation and wealth retention that you know. So you do it as a business, but when it comes to you investing, right, as a concept of a trophy asset, or it's most time it is for wealth preservation, right, for wealth preservation. So most of like I used to say that most of us, what we know about real estate is the barest minimum use of real estate. So it's more like the popular thing that we know about real estate is, especially, for example, you also hear people talking about, if not just in Nigeria, right? Even if you go to, what's it called, the US, you hear people talk about it that, buy for this amount, fix it and flip it, buy, fix it and flip it, buy, fix it and flip it. Yeah, that's a business side of it. Right. In Nigeria, most likely the popular one you would hear is, buy land where development is going and things like that. As good as those things are, right, and as profitable as those things are, right, the real profit comes when you, number one, either treat it as a full-time business, right? Or there's something I used to say. Now, this is to buttress the second part I want to say. Those who own the most valuable real estate in any place, in anywhere in the world, they are in two categories. Go and check it. People that own the most, not just own properties, people that own the most valuable real estate anywhere in the world, they are in two categories. Number one, the real estate entrepreneurs themselves. Number two, leaders of other industries, either as a top professionals in other industries or as a founder, CEO, or innovator in other industries. Those are the people. Go and check people that own property in Banana Island. Either really the developer, real estate entrepreneurs that are building there to sell to other ultra rich guys, or people that are actually wealthy that have made money in other sectors. And this is why I would always advocate for building capital. That's why I would always advocate that you don't buy what you can afford. You build capital to buy what is viable. If it's 100,000 naira you have now, just buy whatever it is you can afford. I don't think it's the right way to invest. I don't think so. I think you should actually focus on building capital, right? Build a savings culture. As you're building capital, build a savings culture to increase your income, right? So that you can buy valuable assets, you can buy what is valuable, you can buy the best of the deals, you can buy great deals. Not just, for example, let me say this. You hear that Warren Buffett started investing at 11. But do you know the age that he became profitable? Do you know the age? Right? In fact, the deal that the turnaround deal for him, he raised over $100,000. Now let's do a quick question, right? What's the value of $100,000 from when Buffett raised it till today? So it will probably be worth $1.8 million in 2018. Do you get the picture I'm trying to paint for you? The best deals, they are not cheap. The best deals, they are not for everyday person. But you can focus on yourself while you build a savings culture to increase your value. You are a career person, to get more certifications, to rise through the ladder. You are a business person, to invest in your business and grow your business to succeed, right? So that you have enough disposable income to buy the best of properties. Unless you are doing real estate as a business, which is now your primary business, where you want to use to build capital. Except that you are more valuable to yourself if you have enough capital because you buy the best deals. You are more valuable even to the real estate developers because now you will not do some long spread and things like that, and then you have enough cash to buy what they're selling. So really, it's a win-win for everybody when you actually build capital first. Either you're an employee or you're an entrepreneur. It's a win-win for everybody when you build capital. Not just this ace of just trying to own anything, of just trying to own whatever. It's really not. It's not working for either of us, right? So it's really you hear me advocate for not just buying what you can afford, or not just buying what's available. Find the best deals. Find great deals. Find good offers, right? If you want to get married, do you just marry anybody that is available? Do you just marry anybody that is single? No, of course not. You have your metric, right? You have quality. You have tastes, right? How come when it comes to this concept, you just want to just do whatever it is, that is available, the one that is within reach? No. In fact, for some people, you might need to. I think someone said to me, it was in a program that many people they married the low budget version of who they should have married if only they waited for them to go for them, if only they waited for their growth. Is it possible that you grow along with your partner? Yes. So don't take what I'm saying as absolute, right? It's not absolute. It's contextual, right? Whereby have you let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen someone you were maybe crushing on years ago, and then today you're like, what did I even see in that person? What happened? You grew. And the person did not grow alongside your level of taste or your level of orientation. And now, they are no longer in your league. Now, imagine as at then, you married them. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm trying to say here? So, by the way, put what I just said now into context. Right. I don't want to be the cause of problem in anybody's relationship. So it's just the best for everybody that you build capital, so that you can buy the most valuable assets anywhere you want it to be. All right. So, like the story of James Dyson that I was talking about, he already built capital with his vacuum technology. Right. It was a successful business. It was a successful business that he had built. So he had the capital. That's why he could actually go, after buying a 300-acre. They can go after buying a 300-acre project, 300-acre estate, right? So in fact, one thing you should realize is that these trophy assets, they are not subject to general market fluctuations. For example, hope you know that luxury items still perform well even during recession. You can do your research. Don't take my word for it. Just go and check. During recession, maybe what's it called? Go and check whether the value of the revenue of Lamborghini, the revenue of LV, whether they reduced or they increased. Because the people buying them, right, are actually not the everyday person that is affected by the recession. So it's the reason why, for example, when you see these guys buy luxury items, they buy the houses in Banana Island in Ikoyi. They are buying because whatever it is, the economy is saying, the buyers are still there. They still have the money, they still have the capital, because they are not selling to the everyday person on the streets. They are not selling. Affordable housing solutions. I want to say something, but I don't want to cause problem. Right. So when it comes to just investing in actually, something like a country estate that we are, and it is the reason why I'm of the opinion that affordable housing is not the responsibility of private developers. There can be a private-public partnership to build affordable housing, but affordable housing is not the primary responsibility of a private developer. It's not. It's not. Yeah, you can ask your question. It's not. It's not. For example, which some people can actually focus on it, right? But how do I put this now? For example, I was checking out the NHF's FMF, is it Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria developers loan. Yeah, the interest rate is low, 10%, but the value of what you are building must not exceed 15 million selling price of 15 million naira. That's the value. Now, what do you want to build that you sell for 15 million naira? What kind of home? You probably build a barrack, right? You probably build a barrack. So imagine that you are a real estate developer and you access such a loan. Yeah, the interest rate is low, but you can only build something you can resell for 15 million naira. And that person will also maybe try to get the loan, that's the mortgage for individuals to buy the property. So in the case of a recession or something, the property is affected. That is for home buyers, not for investors. Do you understand that I'm there's a way I'm saying it without saying it, but I believe you understand what I'm trying to say. I believe there are some real estate developers that are here, and you've read all those and you're like, how do I manage this? So I believe that thing should be reviewed. I believe it should be reviewed. As much as it sounds like, it's good for the masses, it's good for this. What about the investor? Right. And that's why you'd always see most people interested in investing in certain part of Lagos or certain part of any state, because they want to invest in a place where they know that general market fluctuations will not affect those who would demand properties in this kind of access. Right. So most times when you see people investing like country estates, we're talking about the likes of Banana Island, the likes of Eco Atlantic, the likes of Lakowe Lakes, the likes of Centenary City in Abuja, the likes of our additional park in Ibadan. Right. It's for number one. Also, they're investing in the historic and historic value. Right. They're interested in the value retainership. How well can you retain the value? Like I told you now, if you are building a barrack with the FMBN loan, right? You're building a barrack with it. it can't retain value. Number one, you will struggle with maintaining it. Even people that would buy it would struggle with having the money to maintain it. Are there no houses that were, for example, now, if you go to Garki in Abuja, there are some houses you will see, they are affordable, but you can obviously tell that this house is depreciating. The land in that house may be appreciating, but the houses are depreciating because number one, there's no maintenance. So anybody that would buy it, what's it called? Would negotiate it to the ground. So they'll buy like something that needs fixing. Oh, NHF has been reviewed, is that 50 million. You see what I'm saying? Thank you, Uzo. I guess I just read it recently from Nigerian Housing Market. And I was saying 15 million. Wait, are you saying, I'm not saying the money they're giving to you. I'm saying, if you read it correctly, I'm not saying, so 50 million is the money they give to you. 15 million is the price of the selling price of what you must get. Let's get the fact right. I love to speak with fact on this kind of issues. So I'm not talking about what's it called, the revenue they give to you or the money they give to you, right? I'm talking about what's the sales price of what you are building. The sales price of what you are building. That's what I'm talking about, right? I think it was about 15 million naira or something that you can sell it for. When I see it, I'm going to share with us. So when we look at something like that, you would really, in fact, one of the questions I used to ask myself, for example, how many of you can inherit gladly, and you think is an asset, your grandparents' house? Okay, you can check it out. How many of us here that if the houses your grandparents built in their days, when they give it to you today, you would post online that, yes, I just inherit a great asset? Because they are not trophy assets. I know my grandmom's house in one place like that, and I'm not sure it's worth 5 million naira. I'm not sure. The area, but imagine that it's in a trophy place. That's why this thing is that's the concept of what we are saying. That's what we are saying. You see, Chiduremon said he can't. But is that not also real estate investment? Have you not seen broke landlords? So it's not just about, see, you can be acquiring properties, but you are not investing to create wealth. They are two different things. There's why I say that you can be investing and not building wealth. It's possible. It's possible. But that's not. Let's go back to why we are here. It's possible. I've lived in certain houses where I don't pray to have the kind of life of the landlords. It's not desirable, right? But we'll get there. We'll get to that place, right? So it's the reason why you see people investing in trophy assets like country estates, right? And that's why it's build capital. I can't overemphasize it. Do you know that most times, even when, for example, you have like small projects or certain projects, these ultra wealthy guys, instead of them to buy a unit of your project, they would rather give you money, loan you money to do business with, or invest in the company, right? And then they get back their return rather than own a unit of that project. How many of you can connect to what I'm saying? People that have done certain things will be able to know what I'm trying to say. You have some projects and things like that. Instead of them to say they are buying 1 acre, maybe the project selling for 1 million per plot. Instead of them to say they are buying, maybe 10 plot of that land. No, they would rather give you 100 million naira, right? Take 50 million naira, and then what will you give me back in 3 years? What will you give me back in 1 year? What will you give me back in 5 years? They would rather do that than own a unit of that project, because they know they are trying to use that platform exactly. So you see what I'm talking about? They won't buy that project. They won't buy it. They would rather finance it, get their profit back, then go and buy a trophy asset. They won't. What's it called? I can remember I was watching a documentary of Donald Trump. It's on Netflix. You can check it out. It's called Trump, the American Dream. And one of the things, when he wanted to build the first Trump Tower, I think in New York, and he was trying to get a loan, I think a 40-year tax relief. One of the things that the people of the locals were saying is that he's trying to build a hotel, or he's trying to build an apartment that people cannot even afford to live in. Have we not heard something similar like that today? That why are you building what the average person cannot afford? Why are you building it for? Something like that. Are people still not buying it? Am I trying to build capital? In fact, let me say this. Maybe it's a good time to address this. The problem with overpriced whatever properties is not the developer. It's the fact that there's scarcity. When there's scarcity, you don't have options. If you read in the Bible where there was famine and people were eating their children, it's not even that. We used to say there's housing deficit in Nigeria. Hope you know it's not that houses are scarce. It's the houses that you want that are scarce. Hope you know. Do we all agree on that? So a trophy asset is a rare, high value investment right? That ultra wealthy individuals or institutions acquire for prestige, long-term appreciation, and wealth preservation. For prestige, so it has the prestige axis, long-term preservation and wealth appreciation and wealth preservation. Right? So you get that things like country estates and things like that. I'm just using country as a case study. Right? For example, if you're trying to get an apartment, as much as we're talking about housing deficit in Nigeria and things like that, agents will send you thousands of houses, but maybe out of that 1,000 is only one that looks sane. So it's not that there's no houses, it's the fact that sane houses are rare. So, and in as much as there's that deficit, there's that scarcity. The higher the demand, the higher the price. Simple law of economics. It's as simple as that. Simple law of economics. Right. So most times, trophy assets has exclusivity or scarcity. Right. It's limited in supply. It has prestige and status symbol, long-term value. That is a thing of prestige. For example, I live in Ikoyi. I live in Banana Island. In fact, there's something I used to say that a plot of land in Ikoyi probably sells for 1 million naira, 1.5 million naira per square meter. Right? A plot of land inside Banana Land in Ikoyi sells for 3 million, 3.5 million per square meter. The same thing, go to the likes of Lugbe or Utsu Axis in Abuja. A plot of land they probably sells for whatever. But a plot of land inside Centenary City in the same place sells for this different price. So they are not within reach. Then most time trophy assets they have resilience to economic fluctuations. They don't move with every economic fluctuations that affect everybody. Because the people who own them, the people who want to live there, the people who want to own it, they build capital. They already rich people. They are already rich guys. They have businesses. They have stuffs. Which is why we keep advocating for building capital. Don't buy what's available. Buy what's viable. Build capital. Right? It's the reason why, there's something I was asking that many of you heard the news of Otedola's brother, or was he, I don't know, I think it was his brother, that sold his Geregu shares and, for about over 4 billion naira. Many of us heard, right? Yes, Nigeria is a good place to build. Just know the exact place you are building. Yes, it is. I think tourism is even springing up in Nigeria, and very profitable more than you know it. Look at what happened with Shortlet Market last year. Right? Thank you, Feel Fashion. That's something I should have mentioned. It has sentimental value. Luxury items generally have sentimental value. Right? So, so it has it doesn't move with every economic fluctuations, right? There's legacy and heritage also, right? It's the reason why even sometimes when they leave those maybe the properties to the children, the guy cashed out. When they leave the properties to the children, they find it hard to sell. So when you look at, I was trying to talk about the Otedola's younger brother, right? That sold for 4 billion naira. When he was buying the shares, did we know? Did he make the news? He did not. We only heard it when he already cashed out. Do with that information what you will. Right? Do with that information what you will. Okay, yeah, I've completed it already. Right? We didn't know he didn't make the news when he was buying it. It was when he sold for profit that we knew. Right? So that's that. Right? So it has what's it called? It's trophy asset has something that they call, I think it's called legacy wealth. Yeah, it's called legacy wealth. Right? It creates, and most times, apart from even them living there, right, it has passive income, premium passive income streams. Luxury rentals, corporate retreats, events, high-end hospitality, and things like that. A night in an apartment in Banana Land will probably be around 250,000 naira per night, or 500,000 naira per night, if no more. So, premium passive income streams, right? And like someone said, it's not even just about the returns, the financial returns. It has more than that, right? It has more than that. For example, I think James Dyson Property rents it even for movie production guys. For example, what this guy is doing in Ibadan, Kunle Afolayan, right? You rent it for, what's it called, the other guys to rent and things like that. For example, another thing is the community. The community of people that they would have access to. The community. Something like what Grant Cardone has built, and not all Grant Cardone's property. Not all, but yeah, a couple of them. The community, for example, Additional Park in Ibadan now, one of the things that we've done for the weekly roundtables that we do is that the roundtable session is strictly for residents. But we stream live for any other person to attend, to watch online. But the real conversation is strictly for residents. Right? And now we are even including hangouts, like polo hangout and things like that. All the things that would later come on the estate. So we'll be having one of them as features with the roundtable. Right? Look at the connections that will be happening. Look at the business partnerships that will be happening. So the community is also a key part of it. The community also is a key part of it. Right? The resident community is a key part of it. So it's not even, so that's why I said it's called legacy wealth. Legacy wealth. The people that we invite by ourselves, strictly invite, would you like to attend? Based on certain things that we've seen. And most time based on for example, if you try to fill in, what's it called now? The roundtable form, you would see that I will ask you for what's your annual income. So I'm trying to see whether we can invite you for the physical roundtable. Maybe you'll be interested in becoming a resident. Right, becoming a resident. So that's the concept of a trophy estate. Right, and it's something, what's it called? One of them that I think a couple of them are also springing up in Lagos by private developers. So these are unconventional investment opportunities. That is not just for the sake of let me just buy properties. No, there's something more to it than buying to resell. In fact, remember what I said, that most top guys who buy real estate, they are not buying to resell. They are not looking for quick return, quick fund, quick box, quick flip. I see people buy properties, and I understand that it might be because they need money. But I see people buy property in 3 months, they're asking, what's the value now? Can I sell now? And I'm wondering, what are you doing? If you know this money is your survival money, why are you investing it? Why are you putting it into properties? Right? It's not done anywhere. Right? It's not done anywhere. And for example, like I said, that most times, even when they, own a piece of that property, they still finance the property. They see, okay, what's the deal here? For example, one of the things we are incorporating in additional park is that for those who want to, also invest in the project, right? We offer a compound investment for them, whereby, but also there's minimum entry, there's minimum investment entry, there's minimum capital required, which is the value of the 1 acre of the project, which is 27 million naira. So that's the minimum you can invest as an investor, right? Invest 27 million naira, and then you have 30% per annum that is compounding at 10% annual growth rate. That means in 1 year, your 27 million naira will grow by 30%. In second year, the return of your first year will grow by 33%. That's 10% on the 30%. In third year, your your capital, that's your second year returns, is going to grow by 36.3%. In fourth year like that, in fifth year like that. If you look at that, with an investment of 27 million naira, in 5 years, you're looking at about 120 million naira in total returns. That's how these guys invest. That's how these guys invest. I'm not looking for quick bucks here and there and things like we look out for. Right. So I believe we've learned something. It's already 7, so it should be a 1 hour session. I believe we've learned something today. And if you're interested in the project, in Additional Park Ibadan project, right, either you want to own a plot of the estate, it's currently for 10,000 naira per square meter. That's 150 square meter for 1.5, 450 square meter for 4.5 million naira, and things like that. Also, you want to invest for long term, 3 years, 5 years, 3 years minimum. You want to invest for compound, that compound I explained. You have 27 million naira you want to partner with us, right? Send a DM, right, with your full name and your budget, and then you get on your exclusive briefing call with me personally, and then we'll talk about it, and then you can get started. All right. So, have an amazing evening, everybody. Bye, guys.